A man and his adopted daughter find their way through a whimsical post-apocalyptic landscape. Frying pan and psychic powers at the ready, they might stumble into saving the world as they explore it. With all the stylings of a retro JRPG, you might expect Eastward to play like one, but this chill action-adventure is more Zelda than Dragon Quest. Jon and Sam's triumphs and mistakes take place in a charming pixel art landscape that's rich with lovely characters and intimately designed places. Even where the story dragged for a time, or the simplicity of the challenges felt patronizing, the parts of Eastward that spoke to me more than made up for them. Our headliners are Jon, a silent protagonist wreathed in messy hair and a bushy beard, and Sam, an outrageously precocious girl with budding psychic powers and a penchant for getting the two into trouble. They're lovable characters with a bushel of personality and a kind of timeless appeal. I loved switching between the two as they travel through a cute but dangerous apocalyptic world. Along the way, you play through discrete story chapters and explore the stories of the people you meet. There are a lot of silly little minigames along the way. Baseball, river rafting, slot machines, and ever-present cooking. The trek to the east is pretty linear, but the areas you explore are laid out like little dungeons, with curling paths to find your way through as you battle goofy monsters and solve simple puzzles. Jon does most of the fighting via simple but satisfying hack and slash action, but Sam's powers, like freezing enemies inside big psychic bubbles, are useful for fights and vital for puzzles. It took me a few more than 30 hours to beat the main quest, but I know there are secrets to explore and little NPC storylines I skipped over that are worth going back for. In fact, Eastward's overall story is good enough that I've judiciously avoided spoilers in this review, to the point of being overly vague in some spots, but trust me, that's for your benefit. Eastward's real draw is its world. The vibrant, pixel art landscapes are so creative and so packed with detail that I often found myself stopping to just look at a city street or a new railway station. It's a loving rendition of a world that's somewhere between a Studio Ghibli film and a classic JRPG. Castle in the Sky meets Earthbound. It's not just the backgrounds that pop, though. The characters of Eastward have great sprites and animation that packs in a ton of personality. They're a cast of well-designed weirdos who all have something unique going for them, which is an animated style that's become all too rare. It's a relief that the world is so attractive and the characters are so appealing, because Eastward's greatest weakness is its writing. Character dialogue is hit or miss, with more than a few cliché lines and real stinkers. I'm talking about unironic use of lines like, "I've been running my whole life." Frankly, it's because the writing doesn't know when to step back and let action or movement convey words. It uses two sentences when one would do, or more often, one sentence when none would do. Exploration and combat are a welcome break from all that staring and reading. Fights are simple, and most enemies can be easily defeated with judicious application of Jon's frying pan. Everything else is susceptible to the neon-colored shotgun or flamethrower. But let me be clear, simple isn't always bad. It was fun to weave around attacks, smack mutants with the pan, and blow them away with a shotgun. But the simplicity did bug me sometimes. While parts of the fighting are good in their straightforwardness, others are just basic. Partially it's because the single-stick controls feel inadequate for aiming weapons. It's fun to bash with a frying pan, not so fun to make sure the characters are both dodging incoming projectiles. I did wish that I had a reason to swap to Sam more often. I rarely felt the need to use her in combat. Her ability to put monsters in frozen bubbles comes in handy for a few things, but you don't need it to win. If you had a psychic sidekick, wouldn't you want her to do a bit more? Likewise, the puzzles Sam's instrumental in solving are never too complex, only ever getting difficult when it's a challenge of timing or skill, or to get at a few tricky hidden chests. Most often, you'll have to notice something like a wall to blow down with a bomb, a puzzle of which cables to connect, or which obstacles to remove so a raft floats where you want it to. The relatively infrequent boss and mini-boss fights are an exception there, requiring a bit of finesse in switching between both Jon's weapons and Sam's powers. I liked them a lot more than the platforming and puzzle bits, and a lot of them really tested my ability to use every tool in my arsenal for a clean victory. A delightful journey from beginning to end, Eastward has charming characters and beautifully animated vistas to explore. The story is nicely plotted, and the chapters tell self-contained stories that are darkly amusing, if a bit overwritten. The simple combat, relaxed puzzles, and cute minigames keep gameplay variety high and the pace upbeat enough to carry you through to the end of the story. For more, check out some Eastward gameplay, or our reviews of The Artful Escape and Hoa. And for everything else, stick with IGN.